So listen, right? Friends have had a reunion. Soon, what a feature. It's crazy. The Friends show, they had a little reunion show, and I didn't watch it personally because I found out that James Corden was on it, and I fucking hate that guy. But the conservatives, I don't know if you know this about American right-leaning thinkers. They really think that Friends is like some moral stain on American culture. Like, they feel like Ross being a guy who has a kid but isn't married, the fact that his wife just turned into a lesbian, the fact that like Joey just sleeps around with people, like the fact that Phoebe is basically a hippie. They don't like that, and it makes them really uncomfortable, and they think that the constant showing of that on television was like the downfall of society in America. They blame Friends for a lot of what they would refer to as what would be the word? I don't know, whatever. But anyways, let's read this article because I've been saving it and I'm super excited to read it. Hype Train success. Thank you, everybody. That was amazing. Mainly Jordy and Jake. Thank you both very much. Enjoy your emotes. That's all I can say. All right. The moral fabric of America is falling apart, say the social conservatives. This website, the National Review, as far as I know, it's just like a cookie cutter conservative type of website. But it used to be a guy called David French used to write on it. And he's like actually a pretty good like writer and stuff. Like, I don't agree with him on everything, but I respect him. But anyway, he doesn't work for them anymore. They have said it forever and are known for overdoing it, but by nearly any standard of morality, they have been right. So straight away, the moral fabric of America is falling apart, and they're right. No evidence for it, so this is just fully like, exclaiming that the moral fabric of America is falling apart. Illegitimate births have been rebranded out of wedlock and have been steadily increasing for decades. Like, illegitimate birth means being born out of wedlock. How does that make it illegitimate? And look at this, like the quotation marks here, like, ooh, it's out of wedlock. We all know it's illegitimate. The fact that these are increasing is not actually evidence that, the fucking world is falling apart. Marriage is increasingly treated as a trite display of affection. No evidence for that whatsoever. Wanting to have a family is seen as old-fashioned because it's not conducive to living in a high-tech city with trendy restaurants and cramped high-rise apartments. Again, no evidence. Few Americans are engaged in civil society, and fewer Americans can name more than one close friend. This close friend thing, I think, is actually true, but few Americans are engaged in civil society. What does that even mean? Like, are Americans just increasingly locking themselves into their homes and throwing feces at the window? Or like, what's the story there? The ideal American life is more often depicted as one of individualism, independence, and money than it is a family, faith, and community. Isn't the opposite of this true? I'm glad someone is finally saying it. Don't the Americans get really mad about the death of individualism, and they think that the collective is like that's the postmodernist Marxist thing that's like ruined? That's what Jordan Peterson talks about all the time. So anyway, less family, faith, and community. Okay, these are the things that we're losing. Alongside these trends, drug addiction and suicide have skyrocketed. Correlation may not be causation, but it is something. It's something, all right. Rather than speak truth to power by commenting on this decline, our pop culture cheers it on. One of the best examples of this is the TV show Friends, which is airing its reunion show with the original cast on HBO Max. Author David Hopkins has written that the original 1994 to 2004 series triggered the downfall of Western civilization. Jesus Christ, I did not know that the writer of Friends has said this before. How a TV sitcom triggered the downfall. Wait. Okay. They made it seem, for some reason in my head, this author David Hopkins, this made it seem like it was the guy from Friends. Like the guy who wrote Friends saying that. Okay. This is purposeful overstatement, and his purpose is good. The show is pernicious, cynical, and contemptible. See this? Purposeful overstatement, right? This is what Greta Thunberg, or whatever her name is, does when she says like that the world is burning. And the conservatives are like, no, it isn't. I don't see the fire anywhere, so there's no way it could be burning. It's purposeful overstatement. It's to get you to think differently. I hope this goes on YouTube and you're shown to be the bastard you are, Jake. This might go on YouTube. I was wondering why they would call the writer the author. Yeah, but didn't it seem like that's the angle they were going? That was really weird. Whittaker Chambers wrote a scathing review of Atlas Shrugged containing these words. Its shrillness is without reprieve. Its dogmatism is without appeal. For Friends, only one word needs to be changed. Its shrillness is without reprieve. Its sympathy is without appeal. I don't sympathize with a single character on the show. Like, okay. But boy, the writers sure want me to. I'm supposed to feel bad for Joey, an absolute moron clinging to a hopeless, childish acting dream. I'm supposed to feel bad for Chandler, who apparently does nothing with his life except be sarcastic. I'm supposed to feel bad for Ross, a pathetic, whiny crybaby of a man. I'm supposed to feel bad for Monica, a control freak with nothing to show for it. And I'm supposed to feel bad for Rachel, who has no redeeming qualities I can find except being extremely physically attractive. The type of person for whom no one ever feels bad. I'm supposed to sympathize with these losers. The writers are whispering in my ear, put yourself in their shoes, compare these people to your own friends. That would be an insult to my friends. These characters are put together and called friends, which I can't understand. Can you imagine crying about this on the internet? It's fucking crazy. They certainly wouldn't be friends for long in real life. The constant tone of derision in all their conversations would split them apart faster than a mall splits a log. This guy would spend 5 minutes in the tavern and cry his fucking eyes out. The permeation of the acts of procreation throughout the group would never withstand the harsh reality of reality. The harsh light of reality. What does that even... The permeation of the acts of procreation throughout the group. Permeation is the... What does it mean in normal people speak, though? Not in biology. To diffuse through... Okay. To spread or diffuse through a room permeated with the... Okay. So, the fact that they are having sex would never... One scene in particular is the epitome of this dynamic. Ross finds out that his sister, Monica, and his best friend, Chandler, began a sexual relationship on a trip to London and have been engaging in it behind his back for quite some time. Upon finding out, he is justly outraged. But when Chandler and Monica say they love each other, Ross instantly flips to being sentimental and joyous. The moral of this story, I guess, is I love you makes everything turn out okay because, hey, that's what friends do. Isn't this the opposite of the point that he was just making? That the problem in this show is that the fabric of society, the moral fabric of society is being torn apart because they're having sex without love. But then they say they love each other and Ross is like, oh, that's great. And this writer's really upset about it. This makes no fucking sense. This guy doesn't have friends, that is a fact. That is pretty much a fact. This is how love is treated in the show. It's little more than the primal animalistic urge for sex. But Monica and Chandler really do love each other. They stay together the entire time. Like, he quit his job to go and find something that he actually loves, and Monica was there to support him for it. And like when he moved to Tulsa, like they made it work. Their whole thing is like striving to have kids and have a family and have the exact type of like idealistic American lifestyle that this writer is pining for. The only person who really seems to aim higher is Ross. He was promptly punished by the writers for doing so with 2 farcical marriages. By depicting relationships this way, the writers implicitly embrace the idea that American society is declining, but instead of mocking the errors, they pile it on. Can you imagine, like, thinking this way? Like, this guy has absolutely no right to fucking comment on like any bit of like media or fucking like creative arts or anything, because he clearly doesn't have a clue. They drive it home with the prevailing ethic of laziness that characterizes the show. Marx envisioned a society where no one would work and everyone could hunt in the morning, fish in the afternoon, and talk about literature in the evening. But he never could have imagined that a modernized version of that pipe dream would be exactly what millions of Americans would perceive through their TV screens in prime time. The characters of Friends live in an insanely expensive and carefree lifestyle and hardly have to work to achieve it. Yeah, they never have to work to achieve it. Chandler didn't like famously quit his job because it was slowly killing him. Monica never had to strive to become head chef. Like, it didn't even show her in multiple episodes like working in a really hostile environment and trying to figure out a way to navigate that, because she wanted to work her way to the top so much. And like, she wouldn't move to Tulsa because she got a job opportunity that was so lucrative and so important to her career that she decided to stay. Like, as with Ross's love life, the writers punish the only character who consistently tries to work, Joey. Joey doesn't go to work sometimes because he's too busy talking to girls, or he forgets what fucking time of the day it is. Joey is like the one guy who does not emphasize this fucking trait whatsoever. If only the unbearably dull character is trying to work, then why should anyone? If only the unbearably dull character is trying to work, then why should anyone? Wouldn't Joey's career have been so much better if he isn't it like a kind of a character arc that like he makes really bad decisions? Like when he went to Vegas to play in that Shutter Speed movie, which everyone was like, whoa, that's going to break your career. Or like his main breakthrough was that he got to play Al Pacino's like fucking body double in a film or whatever. Monica's busting her ass as a chef. Yeah. Friends would be shy if it cut to Chandler and he was just typing away. And they even tried that, Jordy, in the earlier seasons. Remember, there was a lot more scenes involving Chandler at his desk. Like, that's what Americans need to hear. Work is for stupid people. The smart, sexy people don't work. Literally the opposite of that is true, though. Like, Rachel is super privileged in this show. She comes from a wealthy family. She can have anything she wants. And she turned it all down so that she could live with her friends and work her way up in an industry that she's passionate about. Is that not literally the fucking embodiment of the American dream? Maybe I'm just you fucking are, who needs to understand it's just TV. But really, there's no reason for Friends to be as depraved and hollow as it is. Joey had an excellent career and he ruined it. He was on a daytime drama that people loved. Very true, yeah. For example, Seinfeld is hilarious and generally harmless. The characters of that show are better friends than the friends of Friends. George Costanza is a complete loser, but you aren't expected to feel bad for him. You're not expected to... Like, they're not telling you to feel bad about anything. Like, I'm pretty sure that Ross pushed... I think this is only a rumor and it's not confirmed, but like... David Schwimmer pushed the other actors in that show to lobby for a pay rise, and when he got it, the writers allegedly made his character insufferable. You're not ever meant to feel bad for Ross. You're supposed to be annoyed by him. He's a loser, and that's the joke. He's employed everywhere. Elaine always works, and Jerry Seinfeld is playing a fictionalized version of himself, trying to make it as a comedian in New York City. Though it rarely amounts to anything, there's aspiration and work. The attitude toward love is cynical, but it isn't central to the show. Oh, well then. Fucking hell. And it isn't mocked from on high as in Friends. I don't think that love is mocked in Friends. Like, every time Joey falls for a woman in Friends, it ends horribly for him, and it's like really heartbreaking. And it's like made very clear that this is like a consequence of his own actions and stuff. Like, can't say I've ever felt bad for a friend in Friends, or very rarely. I think like there are some episodes when Joey and Janine didn't work out. I felt bad for Joey. I never felt bad for Ross when Charlie left him for Greg Kinnear, because that was a really fucking weird subplot, to be honest. But I'm almost certain I've felt bad for characters at certain times in it. Finally, Seinfeld makes it clear, while parts of it are social commentary, you are never supposed to take it too seriously. You aren't expected to put yourself in Jerry's shoes, just watch and be entertained. It's TV after all. I feel like this bit of advice would go really well for this fucking guy. Final paragraph to Chambers' aforementioned review of Atlas Shrugged. Why does he keep going back to this random fucking review of this like, it's got nothing to do with the fucking thing. Steph made a good point when Monica and Chandler can't have kids. Yeah. And that's like, you can say something here like parts of it are social commentary. You're never supposed to take it too seriously. Like, it is a social comment. It's a piece of social commentary that like a man loses his wife because she like realizes something about herself that she never knew before, or like Monica and Chandler not being able to have kids and having to compromise, or even Chandler going to Tulsa, or like Ross and Rachel and their like struggles that they had at all. Like, these are like modern problems. I don't know. I wonder if like Friends was the first show to address non-traditional, like non-conservative, like liberal idea. I don't really know. We struggle to be just. We kind of. I too struggle to be just. Friends was a huge hit and has remained popular enough to warrant a reboot. That's not what this is. I want to find it funny. I want to laugh at my fellow Americans, but the show keeps shouting me down. The moral fabric of America has been falling apart for quite some time, and Hopkins' line notwithstanding, Western civilization will not fall because of a sitcom. Okay, finally, a bit of a fucking island of reality here in an ocean of bullshit. But Friends is not a cure for anything. American pop culture basks in contemptible depravity and cynical shallowness, but like the proverbial foolish teenager, we never think it can come back to hurt us. If you feel like you're always stuck in second gear, maybe it would be wise to remember the eye is the lamp of the body. Whoa, really fucking makes you think, doesn't it? That is fucking... Wow. Excellent stuff. I am now convinced that this show has ruined the world. That was super cringe, wasn't it? Honest to God, that is just extremely one of the worst fucking things that I've ever seen. I don't know. I'm a guy who has like, I don't know how many hours of podcasting I've done in my life, analyzing and critiquing movies for their for the moral content. I don't mean like how moral I think it is, but the moral that they're trying to present or the morals that they're trying to showcase. If I didn't understand a show to the degree that this guy clearly doesn't fucking understand Friends, I simply just wouldn't talk about it because that's so cringe to me. Like, that's one of the most embarrassing situations that you can find yourself in. But can someone just watch something and enjoy it? Like, I don't like South Park, and I don't think that it's good. I don't think it provides like actual good commentary on things. I think it provides commentary on things. I just think that mostly its point is that everything is stupid and there's nothing to really glean from it. So you know what I do? I just don't fucking watch it. And that's it. And sometimes people ask me, what do you think of South Park? And I say, I don't really like it that much. When it's good, it's really good. And, you know, when it's average, I don't enjoy it at all. And I don't find it good. But that's fine. I just don't watch it. God, imagine... I don't know, man. It's just some really high level cringe, in my opinion.